We have a massive New York Rangers injury update as one of the Rangers superstars could be out long term. We also have some crazy surprise performances from some players who are looking to make the roster full time this season. We're going to break all of that down, but before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who are watching our videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, so if you want to do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And guys, it is a pretty scary start to the season already. Well, before the season has even started for New York Rangers fans, as one superstar looks like he could be out long term with little to no answers so far on his injury. And we also have another injury update from another player who got hurt in the same preseason game. Not a great start for the Rangers. Now, of course, this is from Johnny, and a bunch of other reporters had it as well. We saw it in the game last night. Artemi Panarin left the game early and did not return. Not a good sign for the New York Rangers, and Peter Laviolette has come out and said that Artemi Panarin is being evaluated for a lower body injury, and at this time we don't know what it could be. It looks like he could be out long term. It's not looking good. It's not something where he's back at practice already this morning, so, or at least I haven't heard of it yet, that he's not on the ice this morning. So it could just be precautionary, but he could be out. And yes, it is a lower body injury, and he is still being evaluated. That was last night, but at this point we do not have any word on the severity of it, which makes me think that it could be a little bit more serious than we think, because if it was nothing, they just kept him out precautionary, which, you know, would be best case scenario. He could be back on the ice today or tomorrow, but not looking like that so far. So hopefully he gets well soon. He's going to be an integral part of the New York Rangers this season. He is going to be, you know, he has to be their best player, or at least one of their best players, if not, you know, Igor Shesterkin, which we'll get to in another video. But hopefully he is back soon. Now, another injury that happened last night, obviously we all saw in the game, Filipino, gets lit up by Scott Mayfield, and, you know, make what you will of the hit. We'll talk about it in a second, but nonetheless, he was trying to get back onto his skates. He didn't. He was helped off the ice, couldn't put any weight on his left leg. Looked like kind of like a Charlie horse play where, you know, he kind of got hit in the leg and it looked super uncomfortable. And we can kind of take a look at it well, and it just did not look very comfortable for Filipino here as you take a look. I mean, kind of an awkward play trying to keep the puck, and then Scott Mayfield just runs right into him. And you can see here, you know, gets the interception, and it's kind of, you know, not knee on knee, but certainly leg on leg. So looks super uncomfortable for Filipino there, and obviously left the game. But we do have some good news that Filipino was back on the bench and took a twirl around the ice at the stoppage, and it looks like we'll get to the Ryan Lindgren stuff in a second, but it looks like, you know, he will be fine. And he was interviewed after the game. Why is it important for Filipino to come back and play? It's only preseason. And he said, that's me all the time. If I can play, I will. So, you know, going back to last season, obviously riddled with injuries, but he is back this year. He wants to make a statement, and if he can play, he'll play. And obviously he was feeling good. It probably just stung him in the moment, and that's all it was. And then obviously right after that, Ryan Lindgren, talking about more injury updates, Ryan Lindgren got into a fight because of the hit, and Ryan Lindgren did not return to this game either, and now has a upper body injury as well. So it could just be precautionary again from the Rangers, but not looking great. And again, now Ryan Lindgren will not return to last night's game because of an upper body injury, and he is still out at this time. So not ideal, certainly not ideal for the New York Rangers in terms of starting, you know, your season, your preseason. You got 3 guys potentially out right now. Well, not potentially. I do think Filipino should be fine. It looks like it was just an uncomfortable play, as we just took a look at there. And yeah, he should be fine. But in terms of the other guys, Ryan Lindgren and Artemi Panarin, we do not know. So obviously a good update for Filipino. Not so great news for Ryan Lindgren and Artemi Panarin. Hopefully, again, like I said, it's just precautionary, and hopefully we do see them back at, you know, training camp very, very soon, and see them back on the ice, because they're going to be big parts of the New York Rangers this year, especially Ryan Lindgren, looking for a big year again from him playing, you know, probably with Adam Fox at this point, probably. But before we move on quickly, I did want to touch on, you know, Filipino had a, you know, bad season last year. It wasn't really his fault, you know, injury riddled. Not a great season, wants to make a statement this year, and obviously Peter Laviolette recognizes that. And I wanted to get into a quote from the Rangers coach himself, a quote from the Rangers coach about Filip Chytil. And he says, the puck seemed to be on his stick the entire night. It seemed like he was dictating what he wanted to do out there. The Bruins, this of course was from the first preseason game, what he saw, and Filip Chytil was great in that game. Filip Chytil has looked good since coming back from injury, just kind of held out in certain games in last year's playoffs, and again, is fully healthy now. So defensively having a hard time with him. I just thought he was a real noticeable player, and that's the thing, especially in training camp, especially for guys who haven't had, great seasons in the past, certainly, but of course last year, like Chytil, like Capo Caco, who hasn't really looked good, but that's for a different video, hasn't looked good so far in preseason. You have to make a statement so far in preseason. Obviously Chytil had that nice goal from Mancini, of course, was a great play. But he's made a statement so far. He looks good. Obviously, coming back from this hit yesterday, just probably was uncomfortable. Took some time to collect himself and was back on the ice. So obviously, Laviolette is seeing that. He's probably going to get a pretty good opportunity this year. Is going to be a big piece for the New York Rangers. They need him to play well, and you know what? I think he will. So it's going to be fun to watch. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention before we move off of this is Zach Jones. He had a fantastic game last night, getting 2 goals. I thought his second goal, the first goal was so nice, and we'll get to it in a second, but I thought his second goal, the slap shot, was fantastic as well. He's obviously wanting to earn his keep in the lineup. He wants to stay in the lineup, and obviously he split the D off the rush, scores on the 5-hole to get the New York Rangers on the board, which started the comeback. That game was not looking good for the New York Rangers, and obviously his goal started that comeback, and we'll take a look at it here. He gets the stretch pass. He's in on a breakaway. Nice little move and slides it 5-hole. Not easy to do, especially from a defenseman, to recognize here on the breakaway, jumping in on the rush, and able to put it through the 5-hole again. Nice skill move. It was a nice goal, and love to see that from Zach Jones, the offensive side of his game coming through, and obviously lots to like about his defensive game as well. And you know what? He is fighting for his spot to be a regular in this year's lineup, and I think he's going to do it. He's kind of penciled in there, I think, right now. It's probably his spot to lose, and he's playing well. So, and like Peter Baugh, like I just mentioned, says here, Zach Jones, there's a couple notes to take away. Obviously, injuries to Panarin and Lindgren. Adam Edstrom, too, before we wrap up this video. Thought he looked great. Had a goal and an assist. Big body. He wants to make this team as well. He wants to make a statement, and I think last night was another, like I mentioned, moments. You gotta take your opportunities and make moments out of them, and he did that last night in this preseason game. And again, Zach Jones doing the exact same thing. We know what we have in him from last season. Lots to like from him, obviously last season, but he's gonna take the step this year. It looks like as a number 6 defenseman to be in the Rangers lineup every day, and I think that's a good thing. So let me know in the comments what you think of the injuries. Hopefully they are not injured long term, and hopefully we see them back in training camp very, very shortly. Obviously Ryan Lindgren and Panarin I'm talking about. Let me know about what you think of Filip Chytil so far. I think he looks pretty good, and obviously Edstrom with somewhat of a surprise performance. Pretty good from him. And obviously Zach Jones, liking what I'm seeing from him. And I think all Rangers fans can agree with that. So let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.